Another episode of the Tokenomics podcast. I am here with Anton Bachman, principal at Play Ventures.
Hello, hello.
Mishka Katkoff, the CEO of Savage Games Studio.
Well, hello again. I don't know how I get like caressed to do these every second week, but
You're here. You're the cipher for the audience, and it's me. It's me, Ethan Levy, executive producer at Network. Today on episode number 6, we're talking about FTX. We're talking about Com2US's play-to-earn platform. We're talking about NFT University. And most importantly, we're talking about the leaked Yugalabs Bored Ape Yacht Club fundraising deck. All of this and more on episode number 6 of the Tokenomics podcast. All right, the main topic today is the Bored Apes, who I realize I frequently Freudian slip as the Bay Area Yacht Club. So hopefully I won't do that in today's episode. The Bored Ape Yacht Club, the big news, actually there was a lot of big news out of Yugalabs and Bored Apes over the past week or two. The main topic of conversation is going to be a fundraising deck that was leaked that Anton, you shared with me on Twitter, and I've saved a copy for easier than Twitter consumption. If anybody wants it, just reach out on Slack. But we're going to talk mainly about that deck and about the metaverse ambitions of Yugalab.
And just a quick correction. So I shared a tweet that leaked the deck.
Got it. Yes, correct. There was a tweet.
We're not leaking the deck.
We're not leaking the deck. Yeah. There is a deck that has been shared on Twitter, and if you would like the link to that Twitter thread, just let us know. But it should be easy enough to Google it. Let me just set the stage here a little bit for the conversation. So, Bored Ape Yacht Club has made a number of moves in the gaming space or gaming adjacent over the past couple weeks. I think we're all familiar with Bored Ape as the blue chip NFT collection. The great flippening happened sometime last year where Bored Ape became the number one valued NFT collection, overtaking CryptoPunks. Here's some of the headlines kind of leading up to this other side teaser the other day. So last year, Bored Ape Yacht Club and Animoca Brands joined forces to make blockchain NFT games. So last year, at some point, it was announced that they were teaming up with, the 800-pound gorilla in the space, Animoca Brands, who seems to have their fingers in every single pie, to add some utility to the Bored Apes and bring some form of NFT gaming to them. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Very recently, Bored Ape Yacht Club dropped the ApeCoin token to its NFT holders, and some people made tens of thousands of dollars in hours by immediately selling their ape tokens. But ApeCoin is kind of a component of the forthcoming Bored Ape Yacht Club metaverse ecosystem. Another story is that they then, in a move in their partnership with Animoca, released a Benji Bananas NFT, and that sold out. And if you own the Benji Bananas NFT, it allows you to play an Animoca Brands legacy hyper casual game called Benji Bananas as a play to earn game to earn the ApeCoin. So repurposing of a game that's already on the market, kind of similar to what Animoca's done with their crazy tower defense games and their tower token. And then just the other day, also, Yugalabs, the owner of Bored Ape Yacht Club, released a teaser trailer for Other Side, which is the metaverse mentioned in the deck, it looks like. And I think that kind of sets this. Oh, and also, of course, Yugalabs acquired the intellectual property rights to CryptoPunks and Meebits. So they're kind of now the holders of some of the biggest NFT collections in the world at this point. And that all kind of positions them with their token and their brands for this metaverse play that was in this pitch deck that was leaked. I'll just say I found on the internet before we start talking that on the Bored Ape Discord, a member of the team said, "That's an old, outdated pitch deck and hilariously a version that neither Gordon nor I ever saw. There are a lot of things in there that have already changed and plenty more things that will change because fuck doing expected things." So that was the statement. So, not... we all know what it's like to see a work in progress deck, and I'm sure things have changed, but it feels like there was a lot of true information and strategy and at least things they're considering in that deck. So that was a lot of scene setting, I think. Did that kind of set the picture for where Bored Apes is going before we start talking about the deck specifically?
Yeah, and I just since Finnish things tend to get mentioned on this podcast, so I think it's worth mentioning that both Benji Bananas and the other Animoca Brands repurposed game Crazy Defense Heroes originally come from Turku, Finland-based studios that were acquired by Animoca a few years ago. So they're clearly putting these IPs to good use here. Regarding the acquisition of CryptoPunks by Yugalabs, it's probably the biggest to date in the NFT space, considering kind of increasing one of the parties increasing the IP portfolio. The idea also for the users that they wanted to bring was giving better commercial rights to individual owners of these NFTs, and that they could have more freedom around monetizing them. But an important caveat here to remember is that if you look at that announcement a bit closer, they're not extending full copyrights to the owners of these NFTs, but they are allowing increased commercial rights to these holders.
Yeah, I think that's one of the really interesting parts is that people own if you hold the NFT, you have commercial rights to that specific Bored Ape or mutant ape, right? So like, I believe some holders are starting a band, a guerrilla style virtual band using their Bored Apes, and they're represented by some big power Hollywood agency. I think I saw somebody is opening a fast food burger restaurant with their ape, and just like, if you own an ape, you can use it commercially, which is pretty interesting. And as Anton said, they're expanding that to CryptoPunks and Meebits in some ways. Do you own a Bored Ape or a CryptoPunk? Were you in early enough?
Nope. I've been too busy focused on the DeFi tokens. These CryptoPunks and the Bored Apes kind of slipped through my fingers there. But
well,
yeah, let's see what will come along.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm coming on this like way behind you guys. Right. So when I look at this, it's like the first thing that I think about is like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I'll be actually 100% honest, and I bet 99% are doing the same, right. If 99.9, because what I'm looking at is like a low quality JPEG, a picture of an ape with various like a really poor tagged skins on it. You know, it looks like out of a game that my 5-year-old plays. And I don't know, like it's just funny that this is like considered like a premier blue chip.
Yeah, this
NFT.
is a luxury. This is the luxury brand. Some of the celebrities that own Bored Apes include Justin Bieber, like, Serena Williams, Jimmy Fallon, and Shaq. Can't be wrong, Mishka.
Cuban and I it's, like listen. What this is about is that it's a small members access only digital community. Yeah. And in order to get in, you have to pay an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
And it's boosted by celebrities, of course. And it's boosted by the fact that the market has been overheated and the value of blockchain has been going up, just as you know, as an investment. And it has been going up as of late as well. Like I think the floor price is about $300K in dollars. So that's just, you know, looking from the side of it. This is a highly exclusive, hard to get in digital community that costs a lot of money, but doesn't have that big of a following in the real world. And we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the deck, they make it clear, or in the alleged deck, I guess it could be a forgery, but it seems to be. It's claimed that it's not a forgery; it's just outdated. But that they want to broaden their brand outside of just the holders of this high-end luxury NFT good, and that their gaming ambition is a big part of that. To widen it out with new NFTs like land and these new, what are they called, qubits or codas, which is a new NFT they're dropping, but then plans to build a bigger game and a bigger metaverse that we assume probably wouldn't require an NFT to access and be available then to millions of players. That's kind of what I read into the strategy, is that they view gaming as the lens through which to bring in the world to the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
Yeah, I think to Mishka's comment, I think that's precisely what the product is right now. I think it's fair to say that product actually works to some extent to this point by selling that kind of digital community, which is sort of very very gated. In a sense, and that's, I think, if we look at the revenue slide from the deck, that's been quite clear for them that actually works for them, at least for the moment. But I think time will tell how sustainable that kind of core product on itself or in itself will be. When it comes to when we're looking at the deck and their future ambitions in terms of kind of building a virtual world and building games, it's interesting to read it, because it feels almost like you see these founders and the team taking kind of a full turn and realize, wait a minute, it's games all along that has been kind of the preferred medium of engaging in a 3D world. And I think we can dive into this specific part also a bit deeper in a moment, but it's an interesting challenge when thinking of who is the core audience of these Bored Ape images. I would assume it's a fairly wide group of people also, despite that all of them are united by kind of the interest towards owning these the Bored Ape JPEGs. But are they actually gamers? I don't know. The core audience of who own these JPEGs. Are they interested in owning them because of potential utility, because of access, or because of the collective thought that the value will go up, and they primarily own them as investments? But yeah, looking at their ambitions with the MMO, I think we have some opinions on that.
I have to be honest. I mean, I wanted this to be later in the discussion, but it almost befuddles me why they would even want to raise venture capital, because in the deck they've done a ton of revenue. They have the ApeCoin out. ApeCoin's 24-hour trading volume was over $1 billion right now. So from my vantage point, right, VC has a lot of advantages to it. But also, once you accept VC money, you are basically making a commitment to some form of exit, right? Play Ventures doesn't invest in a studio or in a project out of the goodness of its heart. It's part of an investment strategy to make a 10x or 100x return on investment. And now that they have the ApeCoin, I mean, if I were them, I would just sell 1% of the 24-hour trading volume every day into fiat until I reached however much money of fiat I was trying to raise. And then you have a lifestyle business with all the funding you need to build your World of Warcraft competitor, and you can make the choices that you think are right, regardless of whether you think they end up in you selling to Microsoft or listing on the New York Stock Exchange. Like, I actually don't quite understand why go after VC when, from my vantage point, they have all the power and ability to raise all the money they need from the public.
Yeah, it's I think from my point of view, I would it can be about the money. In this case, I think they are able to as you mentioned, they raised that either through new primary sales of new collections of NFTs. They're going to do land sales, and looking at other land sales from other virtual worlds previously, they've done really well on that front. So I don't think capital raising, as mentioned, is going to be a concern for these people or this team. Some sort of reasons I can think of, if the founders, they don't come from gaming, they don't have team members from gaming, and necessarily don't have the experience to recruit people from the industry and start building internal studios for production. That this is likely a way for them to affiliate themselves with VCs that could potentially help them.
Legitimacy and connections.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Do you guys mind if we just go through the deck first? Because a lot of people haven't
of
seen
course.
it. So
Sorry.
if I can run people with my own perception, which is most likely not controversial to most listeners, but controversial to everybody who's deep into tokenomics. Just, looking at it, like the first page is always the founders, like who these are and etc. In this case, there are just pictures of Bored Apes, which makes sense, of course. But these founders don't even have names, just Twitter handles. Like, you don't have to. They have two presidents, two co-presidents, not CEOs, two presidents on a company of 46 people. Clearly, they don't need the extra VC money for themselves, because they're probably all these secondaries and token sales and whatever has been happening here, or the NFT sales have made them mighty wealthy, so that they don't have to do the day-to-day job, and they don't even have to do the strategic job. They're kind of doing like half strategic job, so basically like a co-president. Not undermining their work or anything, just saying that it's kind of weird on a company of 46 to have two co-presidents. The company, yes, as I said, 46 people. They plan to revolutionize not only gaming, that will be easy, but also streetwear, of course, and events. Which, I would have started maybe with events and then going into the streetwear.
They've done events, and
yes, they have.
There's a great article I read about it, about one of their events in New York, that basically made a metaphor that Bored Ape Yacht Club is closest to a streetwear brand out of anything. And that article actually helped me really understand Bored Ape Yacht Club and the appeal. And so I feel
like Supreme.
What? Supreme, yeah.
Like Supreme.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I feel like those, since they've already done the really hard part of building a lifestyle luxury streetwear brand, like that seems to me almost luck plus easy compared to the aspiration of revolutionizing gaming and building the singular metaverse, which is just impossible. I mean, I think it's kind of personally, I think it's a fool's errand anyways, but even if their ambitions were just to build a World of Warcraft competitor and not the #1 interoperable metaverse, that's a really hard task that takes hundreds of people 5 years to do.
So let me take the listeners into the point of like, where does this gaming come from?
Yeah.
So in this presentation, which is done, like I can only imagine that they have I don't know, they have a couple of adult beverages while doing this deck, because it's tongue in cheek.
Dropping
at best. So it's 80 pages also.
Yeah.
It's like that's a lot for the content that is non-existent mostly. So they're racing. So they talk about the race towards the metaverse, with the likes of Microsoft, Roblox, and even Walmart, and of course Meta. There's zero context what metaverse is, in their opinion. Just the word should be enough to understand. It's not technology. It's not anything. It's kind of everything. Okay. It goes with all the craziness regarding the metaverse and the cringiness from images from Ready Player One to Matrix. They have good call-outs, though. They talk about the fact that a virtual social hub ain't gonna cut it as a metaverse in long term, and of course pointing at Meta. And that metaverses are creating boring shit, which I 100% agree. And I mean, if you look at, no offense to Meta, but if you look at their metaverse presentation with those with those
Horizon.
avatars. Like
it
just looks so boring. It's just like the stuff that Meta put out is just it's incredibly boring. But anyways, or boring or just straight up impossible. Like in that video where you see this is from the Meta announcement when somebody's like scrolling on Instagram and they see like meaning like this has to be today or tomorrow. So they're scrolling on their iPhone and they see a rock concert and they tap on it. If people haven't seen it, they tap on the rock concert and in the Instagram it asks like, hey, do you want to join your friend in this story at the rock concert? And they're like, yes, I do. And the hologram of this person who was scrolling the Instagram appears in the event, and they're like having all this fun with a physical and a hologram together. And then they get like an NFT ticket inside this concert, and then they go later into this lame ass second world. But it's just like it's like lame, impossible, and sad all at the same time.
Oh, I thought you were describing my Deconstructor of Fun Miami pitch deck.
I think this goes back quite a lot to one of the things we discussed earlier in one of the earlier episodes of the podcast, that and also very visible in the kinds of pitches that we see, is that there's a bunch of people that necessarily or most often don't come from gaming and pitching the idea of these virtual worlds, which is obviously something also that some executives at various tech companies have also picked up, the narrative around those. But then if we look at these kind of rudimentary, just plain 3D social hangouts, there's not a ton of engagement happening in these. I think if we look at the ones that are existing now in the crypto space, which would be Crypto Voxels, Decentraland, there's really no kind of hook in itself that would bring these users to come back on a daily basis. And if you look at the activity of what's happening on Decentraland, it's almost, as mentioned previously, it's fully almost happening because of what Decentral Games is doing, and they're building games in Decentraland, and that's where they're creating the engagement. Also looking at, I mean, if you look at Fortnite and their obviously their big conferences as a part of their live ops strategy. Now this is just a guess, but I'm not sure if users would come or become Fortnite users just to attend these virtual concerts, but it's more of an additional engagement tool, monetization tool for the players that come there for the gameplay itself. And obviously we're looking at it from a specific lens, from a gaming lens, because I think that's the world that we understand. But I think when it comes to also to crypto, the virtual worlds that will utilize on-chain elements are probably going to be the ones that there's a hook, there's a core loop why people would come in there, and the social graph that is born out and the social aspects of those worlds are more just the ripple effect of players coming together, doing shared goals, etc. And but these, I'm not too bullish on these just blank 3D social worlds that want to capitalize on the social elements. I think there needs to be something that's really kickstart those user bases.
I agree. I that was something that really stood out to me about this deck, is that it kind of presumes that any viewer is bought into the idea that the metaverse is a thing. And, you know, I have a couple different opinions on it. And one of them is that we have Discord. That's the closest thing to this version of the metaverse. And that the convenience of it being on text and on your phone is what users want, right? Discord allows you to form ad hoc social communities around any concept you want and share them easily with people. And we have that. And until we're actually all wearing AR glasses that work in the real world, we don't need 3D.
Which we never will. Let's hope for that.
Right, because we're going to have them implanted directly in our head. Once that happens, then I'm interested in a 3D virtual hangout space. But like, to me,
AR contact lenses. If someone is building
AR contact lenses.
Right. But like the Second Life 2.0, which is kind of this deck kind of says everybody's doing Second Life 2.0, but they're doing it wrong, and we're going to do it right with interoperable NFTs. And I don't think it's not going to be fun, and people aren't going to show up for it. The thing that surprises me, like if I were trying to pitch a metaverse pitch to you, Anton, and play ventures, I would say there is a generation that has low purchasing power right now. They are the Roblox generation, and Roblox is where they hang out. Once they get to college and enter the workforce, they're going to have extreme purchasing power, and this is the type of experience they're going to want as they get older. Therefore, I'm building this for the Roblox users when they turn 2022, start getting full-time jobs, and move out of the Roblox age range. Right? That's the metaverse play. That's like a strategy I could understand. And if you backed, and I think you'd have to make an argument for why that's not just Fortnite. But
yeah.
that to me is a very tangible strategy. Whereas I feel like anybody who's just basically saying 3D hangout space, Second Life 2.0, like I think Second Life is a very niche product. And
or Rec Room or those type of...
Well, Rec Room, I got to get Cameron on to talk Rec Room on Twig, because you guys bash him all the time. He gave me my first internship in gaming, and I think Rec Room has a lot of user-generated experiences. Like, there are games to play in Rec Room, and it's a younger focused thing. It's like a Roblox competitor. Like, younger kids hang out in VR or on their phones and play Nerf gun fights and put on theater, and like... There's a UGC component where I think it's a Roblox competitor. That one specifically.
And I agree that it's definitely that audience that you want to be building for. I think also looking at non-crypto projects as well, there's a bunch of platforms that are trying to build for this older audience and thinking that when the initial Roblox players get older, they somehow graduate to more mature platforms.
Right.
But that's actually not what's happening. You're looking at Roblox and their kind of timeline on how the fidelity has improved of the assets on the platform. It's actually, if you look at that timeline, it's improving quite a lot all the time. And the average age of the Roblox gamer is also increasing. So the Roblox, they aren't exiting the platform. The platform is actually growing with those users. But I think it's definitely the user you want to cater for. They're not super interested, or not all of them super interested in like AAA high quality games. There's a lot of low poly voxel graphics that are interesting because they work from a UGC perspective really well. And also thinking of virtual worlds with on-chain elements. That's the audience that I would sort of focus on and see how that, as mentioned, the purchase power increases. And these are also users that have grown up with UGC platforms and virtual worlds. Right. They didn't grow up with single-player narrative games on console. And then if you extend that a bit and look at the hardcore MMO audience, and kind of, my best guess is that that's probably not the best match with NFTs also currently, given that it's an audience that is hostile to any new monetization model of games. But there's likely going to be a subset of those users as well.
There are some people that play Pokemon forever, and some people who grew up with Pokemon and still play Pokemon, but they also play Persona, for instance, as another monster collector, more adult game. When you guys read this deck and their ambitions of building a metaverse and having a slide that's like World of Warcraft, Apex Legends, CSGO, like each one of these games takes tens to hundreds of experts, multiple years to build, right? And they're just like gaming, and then we're going to build a metaverse. Do you feel like we're looking at 38 studios all over again? Like someone who just imagines that because they have celebrity and money that building an online virtual world is easy and they're just going to sink millions of dollars into this?
No, actually not. And I think this is the strength of these companies that don't have the gaming background, is because they don't have people there who think that high production values is a must, and that every next iteration has to be with the higher production values, and we always have to reinvent the wheel and do everything better because this is how it has always been done. These are people who just make something quick and put it out there. And you could see it with Axie Infinity, you could see it with every single crypto game, that they're kind of shitty because they're not meant for gamers. They're meant for a totally different audience. And when you look at this, when you look at the concepts for their game,
for the land and the codas.
Yeah, for the land, they look good enough. They look like they've been outsourced for any 2D capable studio out there. with freedom to roam and draw anything. So the quality the quality expected is extremely low, and I understand that there's the technical aspect behind it with all the elements out there, but I don't think they will have a hard time building it. Like a good enough game team doesn't have to be experienced. With economy designers, with the help of any of these blockchain gaming platforms or the Fortes of the world, partnering up with them, they can build this any day. It's a light RPG with extremely high monetization of the land sales and these what were they called, the
codas, right? Yeah,
codas, like these random items.
Yeah, I agree that actually their ability to generate financial success is divorced from the quality of whatever virtual world they put out. Like they're going to print money with the codas. They've already printed. Exactly. They've printed money with the ApeCoin. They're going to print money with the land sale. Like they have the luxury brand right now, and they are going to make a lot of money from people. And my question is like, what's going to happen when the game arrives, and if it's underwhelming?
I think the game is going to be 100% underwhelming.
Right.
I think from a perspective of a game developer and a gamer. But is it going to be good enough for this audience? I think it could be. Because on the other hand, they have released a couple of games. Like there was, the hide and seek game that I don't really understand what that was about.
The ARG thing? That was like a live event.
Yeah. But there was another one. It was like the apes versus monsters or something like that. They made a game, and that game had... Yeah, Apes versus Mutants. That game had 30,000 lifetime players. I think that was the number. So one thing, when I see these numbers, and they were posting their Instagram numbers and Twitter numbers, and they're like hundreds of thousands. When I look at them, I'm like, they're drinking their own Kool-Aid hard. Like they think they're so fucking big because in their own world is ape shit. Like everything is about this, and for them it is all about this. But if you tell me that I'm doing an MMO, because my first game that I just released, it was a little indie game I made, but my first game, dude, 30,000 installs. 30,000. Think about it. Right. So now I'm just going to go in and make an MMO out of it.
In a day, you mean? You did 30,000
no,
in a day?
Lifetime. Let's go. Like, can you imagine 30,000? That's like a small town, dude. That's a lot.
My HTML5 Flash game I made, HTML5 indie art game that I made 8-9 years ago has more players than that, probably.
Yeah. So it's a little bit weird, kind of like I understand it because there's not a lot of people in this NFT crypto scene. Like it seems like it because we're talking about it and because
the revenue numbers are so big.
Yeah, because of the revenue numbers. But this is not a big thing. In terms of people, it's not. Like even if every company invests into it right now and says this is the next big thing, it's not now. It's just like VR, just like AR. Like we have to be very clear about it. So
I'll disagree.
In terms of land sales,
right?
Land sales, they had like 100,000 lands to sell. So it's pretty small, but it's already 3 times larger than their game that was really powerful. And they even had quotes there that somebody tweeted that I've been playing apes versus mutants all night. It's like, what the fuck is this?
The one I'll disagree. I mean, obviously, I've pivoted my whole career to crypto gaming right now.
Of course, you have to be bullish about this.
I don't think this is the same as VR and AR because VR and AR is a hardware change that's kind of like driven by our fantasy of what we want to happen, and it feels very top down to me that the tech just isn't there yet. Whereas like this is a bottoms up thing, business model change that is driven by players and new creators that I see in my mind. I see the story of how this completely eats the free to play game industry as it becomes easier to use and the lower friction, more common day to day and higher quality experiences. Like, of course, given the option of 2 equally accessible experiences, where if I have one shooter where I can buy guns and I can sell them to other people because I own them, and I have one where I can buy guns and do nothing with them, I'm going to play the one where I can sell my secondary goods and make some portion of my money.
We know it, Ethan. You're very bullish about this, and I get it. And I'm not bullish about that. I think that will
Anton's going to bring us back.
But we're not going back to this. Let's talk about this one thing, and the only thing I want to say, only thing I want to say about this product positioning, that's it, is that Bored Ape Yacht Club is not that big in terms of the audience. Like, yes, they put in, like, Justin Bieber has 2 of these JPEGs. Great. But if your game is being played by 30,000 players all time, what are we talking about? Like, the audience is small. And I think the audience on this game, whatever they put out, is going to be really small. But I think they're going to make gazillion bucks because they have proven that they have been able to sustain their value with their NFTs. And associating this with a brand extension or another, a game where you get these, I always forget, I don't even remember, the Meeks or whatever the second version of Meebits. It's just like, is this like the cheaper version? Like, if this is a Bugatti, is this like a Porsche of that? So I think it is gonna make crazy money. But just the reading this deck and getting their perspective that they think that this is like everybody in the world wants to have this JPEG of an ape, and then seeing the actual numbers that are really low. Like, even if your Instagram is like 600K, an average Instagram model will murder you like easily all day. And not even talking about like the Rocks of the world with like 100 million followers. So it's just that like there's this disparity of viewing themselves as the hottest thing ever because the VCs love you, because all the corporations about talking about it, and because you have the celebrities, to the real world where most people have no idea what this is.
I think you're a bit on the same track as I'm thinking of this, but I'm going to explain kind of my point of view on this.
Yeah.
Now, again, I want to have an optimistic look on what's happening in the space, but looking at this specific endeavor from Yugalabs, I think you're right, Mishka, in a sense that it's both a blessing and a curse for the team that they don't necessarily, or we're just speculating that they might not kind of know what the highest standards of game development are and what their end product is going to be. I think they have a very, very specific sort of idea of what they think sort of a great game is. And I've seen this specifically when visiting a bunch of crypto conferences and gaming conferences during the past years. And even though crypto is a lot talked about subject in gaming, and gaming is a very popular subject in crypto, these two worlds rarely actually talk to each other in a way. So at a crypto conference, the gaming content is very different from what the crypto content is on a gaming conference. And they're both kind of, I think, asking more or less the wrong questions still on both sides. So there's still quite a lot of work to be done to really have these worlds intersect in a proper way. My concern with none of these, the Yugalabs are going after such an ambitious and big project as an MMO or a meta RPG, as they were calling it themselves, is that obviously setting up high expectations, recruiting a lot of people, potentially ending up in a situation where they really don't know what they're doing. The project keeps stalling, the timelines get extended. We already saw this with Star Atlas, where I think it's still questionable how many of the team have actually worked on, or the core members have worked on large games previously. And they already pushed their timelines further into the future. But hey, they said that, hey, we're going to come up with a mini game, and I think that's going to be a more common solution with these projects going forward. That they kind of realize at some point, okay, this is quite ambitious. We need to downscale a bit, and then at some point, it's going to look really bad for these companies if they really can't deliver on these promises. I mean, at the end of the day, like 3D MMOs on PC with deep systems is not going to be a walk in the park for many of these teams. So my final take there is that I'm quite bullish on Bored Apes as an NFT collection and kind of the stuff they're doing on the really exclusive community side of things. They clearly have a product that resonates with the people, that has revenue-wise made really well for the company. But I'm not so sure whether they should pivot to become a game developer or a publisher. I think they should double down on their strengths, focusing on building, because they're one of the first kind of digital native lifestyle brands currently that only have digital products that the company itself releases, and really kind of try to capitalize on have the owners of the Bored Apes make this thing bigger than itself. I don't think game development is the right, or at least for the moment, I'm not sure if game development is the right way for these projects to go forward. But they have something, they have a core product that resonates, and they should double down on figuring out how to make that thing bigger. Because again, I'm not sure if these Bored Ape owners are actually hardcore MMO gamers themselves. And with 10,000 people, you're not going to make a big game anyway. Now, obviously, the ApeCoin, the part of the pitch of the ApeCoin was also to extend the Bored Ape community and and give the feeling to more people and users. They would also be a part of this community. And I mean, if there is ever going to be a game, it's likely not going to be gated to people who only own blue chip NFT project NFTs. As
right.
I don't know if you guys saw the trailer. I think Ethan, you saw the trailer.
Yeah, the other side trailer.
So there were kind of sneak peeks of Cool Cats and CryptoPunks also be part of that universe. But
we'll have to talk about interoperability in the future, and because I think that's a whole own episode.
Yeah, we did with the Ready Player Me. We did the I can't even pronounce that word, but that was the episode. So if folks want to kind of go back, but actually, I want to point out on the Anton's point of the game, like you have to kind of go back into what Bored Apes is about, and what I mentioned in the beginning. It's an exclusive digital club, highly exclusive for super wealthy and the celebrity and people who want to associate with them. This whole presentation, the whole deck was about how to take it to the masses. And I think that's a big brand risk as well, because the whole idea was to be exclusive. Like only few of us get to do. Like if somebody has a Bored Ape, that person is minted. Like they have money. And it's nice to be in that kind of a community for the people who have money. As soon as it becomes widely open for everybody, there's just going to be another Bored Ape, another exclusive community. Like, not everybody should have a Ferrari. And Ferrari is not trying to make cars for everybody. It just makes people who can afford Ferrari. And even if you can't afford Ferrari, guess what? In order for you to buy a Ferrari, you have to buy... Like, those who already have a Ferrari can buy the Ferrari before you. So, it's all about keeping your super wealthy club small and exclusive. And I think most of this presentation was everything against exclusivity.
Right. So I think it feels like our tokenomics conclusion is sort of building MMOs is really hard. For one, don't underestimate how hard it is. Two, if you have a luxury brand, play to your strengths of being a luxury brand. Don't try and go from luxury to everyone. That seems to be diluting it. And three, we believe that the tactics mentioned here around the NFT sales and land sales and the ApeCoin are going to make $1 gazillion no matter what. So we're super jealous of Yugalabs on their success that they already have with ApeCoin and the Benji's Banana Pass and everything they're doing. You know, they're doing something right for all our doubts of their ability to build a full-scale interoperable MMO.
Actually, on that final note, they're doing something right because they're making so much money. That's a fallacy. You can make a lot of money, but not doing the right thing.
They are successful. And if
they're successful.
And if they'd like to talk to me about designing an ApeCoin-powered action RPG or similar, just reach out. Anyways, that was our Yugalabs talk. Let's close it out with new hotness. Mishka, any NFTs or tokens yet?
I don't. So I was talking to my buddy. I'm not going to mention. So he's constantly he's deep into this NFT. He has an ape. Let's be honest. He has an ape. He said this to me, and I was like, I didn't even know what to reply. We were just texting yesterday. So he said that he can hook me up with, bro, if you need that alpha, I got you. I don't even know. So my reply was that I feel beta even asking what I'm being hooked up with.
About? Yeah.
You need to step up your game, Mishka.
Yeah.
What was that sentence? What does it mean?
That he's offering you proprietary information that'll make your portfolio go up.
Okay. Well, I need that alpha then.
Right. You can send, if you have some alpha for Mishka and you've worked in the games industry for 5 years or more, please join the Deconstructor of Fun Slack, and then you can send it to him. Anton, any new NFTs or tokens?
No idea.
The Deconstructor of Fun event in Istanbul is going to be pure alpha.
Yeah.
Pure alpha.
Yes, it's going to be pure alpha.
If you want the alpha, then you got to join.
And then we're starting a new NFT. It's called Jacked Gorillas.
No,
it's like Bored Apes, but just no juice head gorillas.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I'm kicking you off I'm kicking you off your platform.
All right.
Thank you. I guess we need to edit this episode, but no. Yeah. But regarding the new harness, I'm vacationing currently, so I've been just done my usual stacking of core DeFi stuff.
Got it.
Let's do some more NFT stuff after this.
Well, I couldn't resist. In honor of the topic, I did get some ApeCoin. I've got 9 or 10 ApeCoin now. I bet on the winners. I got some ApeCoin. So
no, you're part of the community.
Yep, exactly. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys. And don't forget, if you're looking to join the hottest NFT, oh look, a baby. If you're looking to join the hottest blockchain gaming company around and want to work with your third favorite Tokenomics podcast host, check out network.com. I've got a bunch of job openings. All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Merci beaucoup.